Put your phone up.
And we're waiting in line, and Diddy's children come walking in to get in. Quincy Brown notices my mom's glasses and snatches them off of her face, like just
breaking, man. This shit broke my heart, man, and I don't give a F about this dude. When Quincy said he's my father. When Quincy said he was my father, that broke my heart, bruh, because I know I'll be sure.
It was supposed to be a day of reckoning for Sean Diddy Combs, but no one could have predicted the chaos that erupted inside and outside that courthouse. Moments after the judge delivered Diddy's sentence, his son, Quincy Brown, lost control. The same calm, charming Hollywood actor who built his career on poise and charisma suddenly snapped. Eyewitnesses say Quincy lunged at a prosecutor, grabbing her glasses off her face in a violent outburst that shocked everyone watching. For a brief second, the courtroom turned into complete pandemonium.
So, here's what really happened. This woman and her daughter were waiting in line to get into the courthouse for the Diddy sentencing. The woman was wearing Meta glasses, which, for those who don't know, has a secret inbuilt camera. So, the woman is trying to get it, and Quincy spots her with her glasses. Next thing you know, he runs up to her and grabs the glasses off her face, trying to get it, and Quincy spots her with her glasses. Next thing you know, he runs up to her and grabs the glasses off her face. He then tries to smash the glasses to pieces right in front of her. Now, to be clear, you're not legally allowed to record inside the courtroom, but that doesn't give Quincy the right to walk up to her and attack her. He could have got any of the security guards to throw her out, but that's not what he did. The woman luckily got the video of Quincy walking up to her, and you can see the violence
her, and in the heat of the moment tried to snatch those glasses right off her face.
Tell me why we're in New York trying to get in the courthouse, right? And we're waiting in line, and Diddy's children come walking in to get in. Quincy Brown notices my mom's glasses and snatches them off of her face, like just mid-stride. He stops walking into the courthouse and
Snatch them. And then try to break my glasses. Why not just tell the security guard that I'm recording or whatever? That would have been better. Why would you just come and snatch that? Yeah. Why would you just come snatch that off my face like that? I mean, that's wrong. What would y'all would have did? Tell me in the comments what would y'all done in this situation if it was y'all. Because to me, that I just think it's messed up. And I have some footage. I have the footage of him walking up towards me, and then I have a still shot of him when he had my glasses in his hand, and it captured a picture of him with it in his hand. So tell me what y'all would have done. I'm gonna attach the video at the end. So I mean, he done messed up my whole time. You know, like that's what people are here for. They hear the video them and to see Diddy and to see, you know, to see what's going on. And for you to do that, man, that just really done broke my spirit.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Look what she got.
Put your phone up.
Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button. Hit that.
Y'all are acting like fans. You are in the middle of the day, apparently with no job, going down to the courthouse so that you can record the comings and goings of the Combs children. And when one of them, who has blonde hair, snatches the glasses off of your face, you're all surprised and your feelings are hurt. The man who is on trial, who is being sentenced, kicked a bitch in the head like a football. I'm telling you right now, I think it's low-key hilarious. I do. Because in my live yesterday on YouTube, I said that them children have obviously been influenced by their father, and somebody told me I was being irrational. And today, we get footage of Quincy snatching the glasses off that lady's face, which is extremely inappropriate. You don't have to touch somebody, first of all. Second of all, you are in a public place. Even if she isn't allowed to record, the fact that your first impulse was to reach out and touch and grab and invade personal space, y'all gonna stop acting like the sins of the father will not fall upon the children. Y'all really need to wake the fuck up. And I don't feel sorry for that lady neither. I don't feel sorry for her. You know why your feelings hurt? Because you're a fan. And you're probably one of those women that want Diddy to get off, that think what he did wasn't that bad. He was just a freak. No. At the cusp of the situation, he is disrespectful as to women. At the cusp of the situation. And if you think that is not pervasive and has seeped into his children, y'all asses is blinder than me without glasses on, bitch. He shouldn't have touched her like that. But I don't feel bad for the bitch. Completely not in touch with reality at all, and then act all surprised and disgusted when the shit happens to them. What you think we talking about, ma'am? These niggas is disrespectful. That's what we talking about.
Hearing this whole trial thing and this whole shit, and it was heartbreaking, man. This shit broke my heart, man, and I don't give a F about this dude. When Quincy said he's my father. When Quincy said he was my father, and that broke my heart, bro. Cause I know I'll be sure. And I know Al is his father. Diddy might have been his daddy. And for him to go that damn hard and get up there and say what he said, that's the only thing that like broke my heart about this whole shit, bro. You understand? Cause I know how Puff, when I was with him, how he treated Kim. And I can imagine when he got to be Diddy and Brother Love, and the way some of the stuff Roger Barnes said about him, you understand, and how he was doing Kim, that it was crazy. But I know Kim had got brave enough where she was defending herself. So my whole thing about it is that, man, that I know that broke Al's heart too, bro. And I'm gonna give him a call because, you know, Quincy don't understand that he was brainwashed too. You understand? And a lot of shit that Al didn't do and couldn't come around is because of Kim was in fear of Puff doing something to Quincy and try to have something to do with Al. You understand what I'm saying? But to see that dude go out like that shit.
No one was looking at Diddy anymore. All eyes were on Quincy. Reports confirmed that security immediately intervened, and within minutes, Quincy was taken into custody. The reason? Assaulting a federal prosecutor during a sentencing hearing. So what really happened? According to multiple witnesses, a woman wearing Meta smart glasses, equipped with hidden cameras, was waiting in line outside the courthouse. When Quincy noticed her, he reportedly walked up, snatched the glasses off her face, and tried to destroy them. His reasoning? He thought she was secretly recording Diddy's family during sentencing. But instead of alerting security, he took matters into his own hands. And that single decision could now cost him dearly. The woman later posted a video online showing Quincy walking toward her. You can see the tension in his body language. This wasn't a calm confrontation. It was pure rage. The video went viral overnight. And what might have been a moment of emotional reaction turned into a public relations nightmare. Critics say Quincy disrespected the court, showing that celebrity privilege knows no limits. Fans, however, see something deeper, a son standing up for his father in a moment of heartbreak. But here's where it gets complicated. Quincy isn't Diddy's biological son. He's the son of singer Al B. Shaw and the late Kim Porter. But Diddy raised him as his own since childhood. So when Quincy called Diddy his father in court, it hit hard. That emotional connection explains his reaction, but it doesn't justify it. And now Quincy faces charges that could impact his career.
Prosecution witness, the former exotic dancer known as the Punisher, called for Diddy to be freed.
I do believe justice is time served. You know, and that's because I'm strict on what the law is. You know, his conviction is transportation. And, you know, it's kind of hard to wrap multiple years or long periods in jail for paying for transportation.
In a dramatic moment, 6 of Diddy's children gathered around a lectern and pleaded with the judge to set him free. The 55-year-old disgraced music mogul appeared to be crying when his son Quincy said he is totally transformed and will never again jeopardize his freedom.
The daughters especially barely able to hold it together, just crying so much, looking at their father. Even we saw Sean Diddy Combs put his head into...
Man, you gotta...
Your dad got 4 years. Your daddy got 4 years.
What's that?
Your daddy got 4 years.
Justin, how you feeling? How you guys feeling?
Support consensual sex party. Support the non-people's bedroom.
Pops, I love you. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for inspiring. I've looked up to you and admired you outside of you just being my father, just you being just a great human being, a kind human being. I love how you inspire me to keep going, to never stop following my dreams, to always believe in myself.
See your foot, put in that middle part. I wanted to tell you how much I love you, how much I care for you. Thank you for being so supportive of me and my siblings' dreams, for always encouraging us to go for whatever we want. We love you. We can't wait to make more memories with you. So I thank you for everything you do for us, and remember your love more than your days.
You know, I told you, the head of the Union Pacific Railroad said, "Sir, save Chicago. It's a great city. It's going to be lost if you don't do it." We have no choice but to do this. And when judges give us rulings that, you know, you don't have to do it, Portland is on fire. Portland's been on fire for years. And not so much saving it. We have to save something else, because I think that's all insurrection. I really think that's really criminal insurrection. So I appreciate the question. These are unsafe places. We're going to make them safe.
Would you invoke the Insurrection Act, sir?
What?
The Insurrection Act? Under what conditions or terms would you invoke?
Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary. But we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe. And it's turning out, and we started with D.C. It's been so successful. Think of it. People wouldn't go to restaurants. The restaurants were closing. We were losing a lot of restaurants, as you all know. And now restaurants are opening and they're thriving. Not only is it not under control, it's the opposite. And I believe they're afraid. They're scared for their lives. You look at what's happened with Portland over the years. It's a burning hellhole. And then you have a judge that lost her way, that tries to pretend that like there's no problem. Actually, she's not even saying that. There's a huge problem in Portland. I'll tell you what the problem is. Crime. Okay, crime. There's a huge problem in Chicago. It's called crime. And we want to put out the crime, and they want to inflame the crime.
Mr. President, Governor Abbott offered up the Texas National Guard to you. Have you had any other conversations with other red state governors?
Yeah, I have. They're willing to offer. Every one of them is willing to offer whatever we need. We thank Governor Abbott of Texas. Every one of the red state, as you call them, red state governors is willing to give whatever we need, because they want our agents protected. You know, these ICE agents have a tough job. They have to go in and get, in many cases, stone cold criminals, hardened criminals, long-time criminals. And every, essentially, Republican governor has offered up whatever we need. And some Democratic governors also. Daniel? Yeah.
The Supreme Court is back in session.
Yeah.
They rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance at getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're open to?
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
You know, I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I'd have to ask.
This is going to happen? That he's going to get a pardon or a commutation from President Trump?
I don't know if he's going to get one. I do think that it's real because, like I said before, President Trump, whether they like him, don't like him, if he feels something is wrong, and we've seen this happen before in the past, if he feels something is wrong, someone got railroaded, someone was convicted, wrongfully, he will take a look at that. Yeah, Sean Combs has said things in the past that probably were not great. I've read them, but I think that if anyone understands that, I mean, look at President Trump's cabinet. There's individuals on his cabinet. His vice president has said things in the past that weren't great for him. But he understands that people evolve, people change their minds. People understand that there's certain requirements, things that are going on, certain pressures that they're under. And I don't think that would affect whether or not he would grant a pardon or commutation based on things that were said in the past. I think it would be based on what he gets sentenced to or based on the facts of the Mann Act, that the Mann Act itself, I think, is unconstitutional. I think there's issues the way that it was applied in this case.
But from an optics point of view, right? And it doesn't appear that the defense is saying so much that this stuff didn't happen.
Yeah, I think it does help her credibility because it makes her more vulnerable and more honest. This is not something that somebody wants to sit on the stand and talk about. She clearly loved this man. She clearly wanted to be with him, and that comes through. And so the humanization, I think, is really important. She wasn't just a machine and just a robot, et cetera. But you also can take different things from that as well. But her honesty is really important. Stepping back, if a jury is trying to figure out what all of this means, they're going to ask themselves, what is she saying? Why would she testify as to this? This seems to be nasty and crazy and maybe even a little demented, but she's owning up to it. So maybe we ought to believe her. So from that may come that the jury is more inclined to believe her.
And defense attorneys spoke, I think almost all of them. You had Xavier Donaldson, you had Brian Steele. What were some of the themes they were focusing on in terms of why Sean Combs deserves a lenient sentence, why 14 months would be appropriate?
Yeah, so right off the bat, Jason Driscoll making the arguments on behalf of the defense, because Jesse, yes, it was Jason Driscoll who spoke. It was Nicole Westmoreland who spoke, Xavier Donaldson who spoke, Mark Agnifilo and Brian Steele. That's 5 of his, 9 defense attorneys who all spoke in court today. So as far as Jason Driscoll is concerned, he was saying that the defense says that Combs didn't make money off of the Mann Act convictions that he was charged. And that was kind of a big theme in terms of his argument today, and that the defense submitted 300 cases of Mann Act cases where it talked about pimps and minors being trafficked, immigrants being transported, homeless people being transported, all of that stuff. And so that was kind of the theme, at least from Jason Driscoll's point of view, and that the defense also saying that Miss Slavic, Christy Slavic, who is one of the federal prosecutors, blamed Mr. Combs for having a drug addiction for 25 years, something that they were also talking about, how he had been addicted to drugs going back at least to 2000. And so a lot of his conduct might be not necessarily excused because of his drug addiction, but they say that might be kind of the underlying reason. And then when you get to Nicole Westmoreland, she was talking about Sean Combs' inspiration and his commitment at MDC Brooklyn, where she was talking about all of his successful businesses. She was talking about how he started a record label from the ground up. She was talking about his clothing line. She was talking about his television company, that being Revolt, and that's where she started to really kind of get emotional, where she was saying that Sean Combs spent a majority of his adult life really trying to help the Black community, really trying to give back to the community, that he isn't this larger than life persona, he's just a man who makes mistakes. When it came to the other defense attorneys speaking, Brian Steele was just very urging of the judge to please consider that Sean Combs had untreated trauma throughout his life. Brian Steele urged the judge to consider that Sean Combs had untreated trauma in his life, and that there have been times in Sean Combs' life, especially when he had drugs in his system, that there were times where he had flatlined and that he was trying to be a better version of himself. And I feel like, Jesse, that was really the theme of all of what the defense was saying, that these 13 months were really reflective of Sean Combs. He wants to be a better person. He wants to leave the past in the past and be a better person for the future. And so even when it came to Xavier Donaldson, he was speaking about how Sean Combs should receive a just punishment. He brings up intent when he talks about Sean Combs' conviction of the Mann Act charges, and that Sean Combs isn't just a pimp, and that he was talking about his work at MDC Brooklyn, where Xavier Donaldson said, we've had assemblymen and politicians, billionaires in MDC, but nobody besides Sean Combs was there to actually help out the other detainees and the other inmates there. And then finally with Mark Agnifilo, his whole argument was that domestic violence comes with childhood trauma. So I feel like the defense was really kind of trying to pull at the heartstrings a little bit of the judge, and even possibly the public too, because this was their final say to all of the people, all of the media coverage that this case has brought attention to. And so I think at the end of the day, from the defense's perspective, they wanted everyone, including the judge, to just look at Sean Combs as a man who made terrible, terrible mistakes, and whether or not he's been punished enough for it, that was kind of what the judge had to consider today.
By the way, I think it was interesting that I think the prosecution said in response that only one of the 5 defense lawyers who spoke actually mentioned the victims. It was very much Sean Combs focused. Now, I say that because Sean Combs did something very interesting when he spoke. He mentioned the victims. We'll get to that in a second. Before we do, I wasn't in that courtroom, but I will tell you, I reading about this, I could feel the emotion that came out when Sean Combs' children provided statements. That felt like a turning point. The judge would later reference the children. Talk to us about who spoke, what they said, and what was it like in that courtroom?
Well, I think it's a moment that a lot of people were anxious to hear, not only from Sean Combs himself, but Sean Combs' children, who, I mean, we do have to admit, Jesse, they have been through a lot throughout the duration of Sean Combs' civil litigations, all the way going into his federal case, too. And so when the Combs children came up for the victim impact statements, they all came up together. They really were showing kind of a solidified, solid unit when they were up at that podium speaking in front of the judge. I will say the only exception of Sean Combs' 7 children was the fact that his 2-year-old daughter Love wasn't there inside the courtroom. So in terms of who was speaking, it was all of them, again, except baby Love. But Quincy spoke first. And so one thing people have to note about Quincy is that Sean Combs isn't his biological dad. Albie Shore actually is. And so, but what Quincy said when he first spoke to the judge, because he was the first one up, he is also the oldest child too, is that he is our father. In front of us, he's a changed man. Week after week, we see him evolve. Our father will never do anything to jeopardize his freedom ever again. Then Justin Combs spoke next. He's the second oldest son. Justin Combs said, please give our father a second chance. This has been the toughest time he's ever been through. This time saved my father's life. I talk to my father every day. He's changed for the better. I ask you to see my father the way I do. Christian Combs was next, and Christian Combs kind of also brought kind of the personality here a little bit too, Jesse, where he says, you know, I'm the one who people say I look the most like my pops. I studied my dad up and down. He's my superhero. He taught me to treat women with respect. So he said the past year I had to travel across the country to see him for 2 hours. He's changed. I see in his eyes as his twin that he's changed. Please give my family grace and please give him mercy. But really, Jesse, where the heartstrings were with the girls, and that was Jesse Combs, Chance Combs, and Delilah Combs who were speaking today. Jesse Combs, who spoke first as far as the daughters go, she broke down immediately when she got up to that podium. podium and started speaking. She said, "We aren't here to excuse his mistakes. We need him in our life. I lost my mom, her mom being Kim Porter, when I was very young. He promised to be there to keep us safe." Then Chance Combs, she had spoke, and she said that we're just his daughters, but we do need our father. When we talk, he speaks with a clear mind. He's more patient. He's thoughtful. He wants to be a better man, a better father. He's parented our 2-year-old sister from jail, and I saw glimpses of our father. Our sister deserves a father who's present to teach her how to ride a bike, to tuck her in at night before she goes to sleep, something that any kid would want. And then the final child who spoke on behalf of the family was Delilah Combs, and she said that we're scared of the thought of not having our mom and our dad in our life. She says that these are the years that we'll never get back. I know that much of the missing years hurt because we have lost our mom. We already lost so much. Please, Your Honor, give our family the chance to heal together, not as a headline, but we're trying to do better. And so I think from just like a human perspective, it was very emotional. I mean, you couldn't help but feel for the children, especially his daughters, because some of his children have lost both parents. But, I was wondering, would their impact statement have any sway on the judge, who I believe that had already made up his mind going into sentencing? And so it was interesting just to hear just the emotional impact of what they've been through before Sean Combs was ultimately sentenced.
I think it did. I think it did have an impact on him. He mentioned something about the children later on. Again, we'll get to that. We're teasing it up because it was significant what the judge said. The judge would end up referencing not only Sean Combs, but the children and the victims too. We'll get to that. All of this was coupled by something I don't think I've seen in a sentencing. There was a video, an 11-minute video that was created by the defense that was played in court. What exactly was this video?
Well, this video, to me, Jesse, I kind of thought was a little bit of a love letter to Sean Combs, whether it was to the judge, whether it was to us in the public. I was kind of curious about where the direction was going, because we did see the video prior to it being shown in court today. So I did get a glimpse of it where I saw bits and pieces of the many accomplishments Sean Combs had. And I think that's one thing that nobody can